What's up, everybody? Back for another Honkai Star video, and I actually have a new mic this time, so this will be very interesting. A buddy of mine lent me it, so hopefully it sounds good. This is my first time using it, and I think it sounds pretty similar to the mic I was using, but it's more convenient because it's just a stand mic and not like this big old arm thing they have. Because I used to have a Blue Yeti, I forgot what this one's called, but regardless of that, y'all are here for the video, so let's get into it. And this video is about, are the OG light cones worth it anymore? Because man, oh man, it's been over a year since these things came out, and like all gacha games, things fall off after a while. They're just not too good, right? There's just better options, and here we are to explore that with y'all today. So first things first, I'm going to show you the characters of the class, right? So for the first one, abundance, then we're going to go over the abundance light cone and go over if there are some good replacements, if it's even good for the characters, right? Because the abundance icon could be like the best thing in the world, and then you go to the characters and it's only usable on one character, and that's like, okay, well, you probably don't need it then at that point, because like what's the point, really? So first things first, let's start over with abundance, and then we'll work our way over to preservation. So first things first, the abundance light cone is going to be good old Bailu. Now, Bailu's light cone increase the wearer's max HP by 18%. By the way, for this, I'm going to be using the max version of the 4-star ones. So for this one right here, it would be the 32%, right? That was a bad example because of the Battle Pass one, but 32%. And then the first one, which is going to be 18, and then 12 for this one, just because it's more realistic to have the 4-star one max if you played for a while versus the 5-star one at 1, right? Anyway, regardless of that, let's jump back into it. So increase the wearer's max HP by 18% and outgoing healing by 12% when the wearer heals allies. Record the amount of outgoing healing when any ally launches an attack. A random attacked enemy takes additional damage equal to 36% of the recorded outgoing healing. The additional damage of the same type as the wearer's and is not affected by their buffs. It can only occur once per turn. So pretty much, we're just going to be looking at this. This last part really doesn't matter. You don't really care for it at all. So, is there a light cone that gives you 18% HP and 12% healing bonus or something better? And lo and behold, we actually have a good contender here, which is going to increase your max HP by 12%, only 6% less than the Bailu one, and is going to increase your outgoing healing by 28% for 2 turns, which is better than the 12%, right? Now, this one obviously is going to be whenever you use your skill, which shouldn't be too hard. If you need to use your skill on most of these guys, you probably need to heal. Bailu's heals, Gallagher's heals, Ho-Ho heals, Link's just not out yet. Luocha's heals, Link's heals, and Natasha heals. Pretty much everyone heals, so if you are using that, then you are getting the outgoing healing bonus. I know some of the characters don't have their ults that heal, so the skill having an outgoing healing is good, and then increases the max HP. So I already think we have a contender. This, if you have this one, this was an event one, so it's no longer available, unfortunately, but you have this one, this is a good contender. If you don't, something like post-op could be pretty good, increase the energy regen, and then outgoing healing when you ultimate. Unfortunately, that will not work for Luocha, Ho-Ho, and Gallagher unless you have the what's it called, his little debuff on the enemies when you ult, right? But it still can be pretty useful if you're still using someone like Lynx or heck even Bailu herself. Then you have stuff like Shared Feeling, which increases the outgoing healing and also can regenerate energy if you use a skill. Now, healers aren't going to be using skills always, but that is a big little buff if you are using it, that you're giving energy to everybody and can actually save you by getting someone an ultimate. So I think at this point, Bailu is still really good and I use it myself, but there are good options, so I wouldn't worry too much about either using your, I forgot what they're called, I almost called it Coral. It is called, what is this stuff? Undying Starlight. There we go. I'm being honest with you. I think that's the first time I've really had to look at the name in a while. Pretty much the extra 70 carats you get for pulling 4 or 5 stars, right? Alright, so now with that out of the way, let's jump into the next one, which is going to be Destruction. Now, the Destruction Light Cone is going to be Clara's. Now, Clara's Light Cone is something irreplaceable. Increase the wearer's attack by 24%. When the wearer defeats an enemy or is hit, immediately restore HP equal to 8% of the wearer's attack. At the same time, the wearer's damage increases by 24% until the end of the next turn. This effect cannot stack and can only trigger 1 time per turn. Well, I don't really need to say too much, and I really don't need to pull up even the Destruction characters because The other free destruction light cone, well, other free, sorry, well, do you consider these ones free? Let me know in the comments if you think that these are free to play slash, let me actually cut back to this. Do you think these light cones are free to play, or do you think that, you know, they should be counted as free to play options because you can get them free to play if you just summon enough? I know some people don't count them because a lot of people will just, you know, convert them into summoning currency. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. But regardless, on the fall of the Aeon, whenever the wearer attacks, their attack is increased by 60% in this battle up to 4 times. Wearer inflicts weakness break on enemies. The wearer's damage increases by 24% for 2 turns. Actually, funny enough, I think that's an error. Let me go, because I'm pretty sure it's when... Oh no, it's not. I lied to you. I'm thinking of a different one. When you get attacked as well. Wearer attacks increase their attack by 6% in this battle. The effect can attack 4 times. Am I tripping? Or didn't this have it to where if you get hit too? Am I tripping? Am I the only one? Am I thinking of a different icon? Regardless though, infinitely going to be better than the other ones. Well, sorry, not the other ones. The other Lycone Claras. It just easier to get it. You have to get hit. The healing isn't anything crazy. I'm not gonna say this is a bad light cone because you do get a 48% and then you get a heal when you get hit or defeat an enemy. But this one is going to be giving you what 16, 32. That's 64. So a bit more. Plus, you get damage increase when you weakness break an enemy, which with some of these characters such as like Firefly or Donheng does a lot of weakness break damage. Jinglu attacks a bunch. Yunli, so and so. She can break weakness, right? She's not really meant to, but she can break weakness by countering a bunch. Clara counters a bunch. Blade has an attacking ultimate, attack, counter, all that stuff. Pretty easy to weakness break with a lot of these characters, so I'd say that one already right there is just a better light cone than Clara's, so hers is beaten right there. Now we have Iration, which is going to be good old Himiko's light cone. Himiko's light cone, for every enemy on the field, increase the word's attack by 9% up to 5 times. That would be 45. Then when inflicting an enemy was... Sorry, when an enemy is inflicted, not inflicting as in whoever's holding is inflicting, is when an enemy is inflicted, so it doesn't have to be the wearer, the damage double the wearer increases by 30% for 1 turn. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, that last one only for 1 turn does suck. That means if you're fighting a boss, don't expect to get that too often unless you're like just using break team or going crazy. Looking at the Iration characters, Himiko would be good on it. Herda, if you're in pure fiction against ice, could be good with it. But everyone else, like, not really. It's pretty much just a pure fiction light cone. But you do have this other free one, which increases the wearer's attack by 12%. After using an attack for each enemy hit, increases attack by 8%. So attack 5 times and lasts until the next attack. This would net you a total of 40... Right, that's 40. Am I tripping? No, I lied. That's no, it's 40. It'd be 52. Be 52 versus that one is what, 75. So you get more attack on Night of the Milky Way, but this one gives you speed if you hit 3 or more enemies, which I'd say the damage does probably going to be better. However, this one is completely free. This one, you know, you obviously have to either lose 50 or lose 75-25 and pull, get on the standard, or exchange for it. There's also this Genius's Repose one, which is really good. Increases wearer's attack by 32%. And then when you defeat an enemy, increases their crit damage by 48% for 3 turns. I feel like this one is pretty solid. And honestly, it's just better. Well, I feel like it's better, right? It's a 4-star one, right? When you defeat an enemy, is a bit easier to proc in pure fiction than weakness break, because sometimes, you know, maybe you weakness break somebody, especially if you're using the not these two and you're forced to use like the other characters. Sometimes you just won't have the weakness break, like Argenti. If you're using Argenti, I know this is like not optimal things, right? But it's easier to proc this one than it is for this one. And I feel like I don't know the exact damage percent, to be fair, but considering you'd have to exchange for it, this is in theory, this video is obviously in theory if you're exchanging for it, I feel like you're better off just using this one or this one. If you have, if God forbid you have like this one or this one, it's infinitely better, right? I feel like the other light cones aren't too crazy. Like this one's okay, this is 24% versus 30, and then the attack up is 24 versus like the, I forgot the super high number that I said, but there's a lot of options that aren't too bad. And besides, you have to inflict weakness breaks. So if you're using this for a character, like if you're using Herta for Pure Fiction and they're not weak to ice, or you're not using it with Himiko and you're just using it with like another like AoE DPS, like let's say like Argenti or Jade, right? Then you're losing this last half and you're stuck with this attack. And it's like at that point, you might as well just use one of these, right? Obviously, if everything's in your favor, this one can be good, but I don't think it's nothing like, oh, I definitely need this for perfection. I don't own this light cone, and I use like Genius's Repose, and I'll use like Jinyan's light cone. I haven't used this one yet, but I probably could get similar results using these two versus having Himiko, so I don't think it's that crazy. Let me know in the comments if you really like this light cone or not, since this is one of the few ones I actually don't have. Next up is going to be Harmony. Ooh, Harmony, Harmony, Harmony. Harmony is Bronya's. Bronya's increases the wearer's energy regeneration rate by 10% and regenerates one skill point when the wearer uses their ultimate on an ally. This effect can trigger after every 2 uses of the wearer's ultimate. When the wearer uses their skill, the next ally taking action except the wearer deals 30% more damage for 1 turn. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a light cone that's like this, that gives skill point and energy regeneration and damage, right? So this is actually a pretty good light cone. However, we do have other options for certain characters, right? If you need a light cone for Harmony MC or Bronya, or sorry, not Bronya, for Harmony MC for Ruan Mei, or heck, just need more energy for someone like Tingyan or whatnot, you can run Memories of the Past. This will increase their break effect, which is good for Harmony MC and Ruan Mei, and give them energy. This free one is good for Robin, because it increases her attack and damage still after you ult. Dance 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 is an insanely good one, as well as it increases all allies' action advance by 24%. I feel like Bronus is still pretty good, and we do have Sparkles if you're looking for a light cone for Bronya, and you know, obviously you have Sparkle too, because most of the time when you summon for light cone, you have the character it's associated with. But this one will increase crit damage and all that for Bronya, so that'll be pretty good. However, yeah, there's really not a good energy regeneration one. I mean, there's Robin's, but we're trying to not look at the 5-star ones and look at more of the 4-star, the more free-ish options. Yeah, none of them are going to be giving you energy regeneration, but they can give you energy in the form of Memory of the Past. So I feel like this one, if you have Bronya, and I believe you can use this with Sparkle, or heck, you could probably use this with Robin as well. It's going to be a little bit rough to get the 2 uses of the wearer's ultimate, like skill point back, but the next ally taking action is, you know, you can get that with Sparkle, you can get that with Robin. I feel like this one isn't a bad one to grab if you want to. Definitely compared to other ones who it's like, okay, you probably are, you know, you could get a better damage buff from this one, or this one's very niche. This one's a overall good one, so this is not a bad one to get. No, not a bad one to get at all. Then we are on Hunt, and I'm going to be 500% with you. Dear Lord, this Lycon sucks. Increase the wearer's crit damage by 30% when the wearer's basic attack or skill does not result in a critical hit. Increase the critical hit rate by 36% for 1 turn. This effect can only trigger once every 3 turns. This Lycon might not be that bad if you just remove the last part, and it's like, okay, you didn't crit, here's 30% crit rate, you're good to go. You got it for 1 turn, you know, you crit, and then your turn comes back, you don't have a lot of crit rate. Oh, you didn't crit, you know, next turn you're going to crit, right? Because 30% crit damage isn't too bad along with 36% crit rate, but only for 3 turns, meaning you're pretty much just stuck with getting 30% crit damage, and that's it for the light cone. At that point, it's better just to, like, build crit damage for like a chest piece, right? If this is like realistically what you're going for, or just say screw it and go for more crit rate, because this one increasing your crit rate by 8%, then an extra 8% if they have 50% or less HP. Then when you defeat an enemy, you get an attack buff. I think it's just infinitely better, right? This one's really just a stack stick for crit damage, and at that point, if you really are just needing this for crit damage, just get like a different light cone, get like ratios, right? Which I know I said we're looking for 4-star options and whatnot, but this light cone is just so insanely bad. I'm gonna break the rules for this one. If you really want crit damage, just get ratios. I like it works better, you know. Um, you get increased crit damage if they're debuffed. If you have a follow-up attack, you get like more damage because of that. But like, uh, jeez, like just get the ratio like bro. It's pretty good. I use that on like all my hunt characters if I'm not using ratio on the team. It's just yikes. They could have been so much better if the last effect wasn't it. Like I'd be fine. Like okay, I didn't crit. I get more crit rate, guaranteed crit. I'm good to go. But yeah, just yikes. Just yikes. Just yikes. All right, Nihility. Now this one's a bit funny. Um, this is Welts. Increase the wearer's damage to debuff enemies by 24%. When the wearer uses their skill, the effective rate of his attack increases by 18%, and the attack increases by 24%. So the only characters I can think of that want to do damage on their skill are going to be Acheron, Kafka, Well, and potentially Silverwolf. So if you're not using those characters, you're looking at this, which is 24% damage dealt to debuffed enemies. Oh, hey, look, there's a light cone who does that, but 2 times more. So that's already just a bad sign for Welt. You just use Good Night Sleep Well, honestly, because it increases your damage dealt when the wearer has 3 debuffs by 24% each. So that's instantly the second they have a second debuff, you're already getting a bigger buff than Welt's Light Cone. And then if you're using like Acheron, right, you'd be getting the effect hit rate doesn't matter for you. The attack increased by 24%. Like you're getting damage dealt by 48% versus 24% attack. I just get this one, bro. Just get this one. I don't know. This one makes so much sense for Welt, but when you try to apply for other characters, it's like half of it doesn't work. The effect rate doesn't matter for like someone like Acheron, or maybe like if you want the effect hit rate, you don't really care too much about the attack or something. It's like something like Pela where she's not going to be doing like an insane amount of damage on her skill. You can, but you're not looking at Pela for the skill damage, right? So it's a bit weird. You have Good Night Sleep Well, insanely a good option. You also have something like before the tutorial mission starts for the effect hit rate, and it's on everything. So I feel like you have your bases covered with that. And then last but not least, we have quite literally the best light cone, and that is the preservation one. Increase the wearer's defense by 24% and effect hit rate by 24%. Increases the chance for the wearer to be attacked by enemies, and when the wearer is attacked, their defense increased by an additional 24%. Now let me tell you why this is insanely good. A lot of other light cones will be increasing the wearer's defense, but this is the only light cone besides, I believe, Yunli's that increases the chance of you being attacked. This can quite literally just straight up save a unit because they would have gotten attacked and then they didn't, and increases your defense not once but twice, which is good for a variety of characters. Plus, the effect hit rate is good for just landing debuffs because you always have it. So it helps Jeopard and March freeze better. The MC, when they throw up their taunt, they get more defense when they get hit, so they tank better, right? Helps Fushuan, right? When she does get hit, take less damage because her defense goes up, right? So that way she won't take as much damage, and you won't have to worry about healing and then eventually not having a heal and Fushuan dying. And my lord, I have it from my adventuring. It is so good because he gets more stacks when he gets hit. So the fact that he's more likely to get hit, big W there. Plus, it increases his defense, and all his defense stuff is scaling. So when he gets hit, his shield is going to be better. It's just the chance of getting hit is just so good. I've had so many times where adventuring just gets hit for like the whole fight, and that's it. Maybe like one other character will get hit, and of course AoE is not much you can do about that. But this icon is so insanely good. I'd recommend if you do not have it, try to save up and get it, especially if you have Adventuring or Fushuan, or hell, even you use Jeopard. I feel like future preservation characters are definitely going to want this Lycone, especially if they want to get hit. It is so good until we get a event, or sorry, not adventuring light cone, a preservation light cone that is like, oh, this unit has a increased chance to get hit, and then whatever passive. I feel like at that point, then Jeopards will probably fall off a bit because it'll be a better mini taunt Lycone. But until then, this Lycone is so good. I highly recommend it. So pretty much that comes down to, it's really just the Jeopard Lycone, and then if you have some use for it, the Bronya Lycone, right? For me, I do use this Lycone for my Bronya, but if you don't use Bronya anymore, it's really just a niche use for whoever you need it for. Overall, the number one Lycone you should have, no matter what, is going to be the Jeopard one. Otherwise, like I said, it just, there's better options out there, right? Let me know in the comments which Lycones you have. Do you have Jeopards? Do you have Bronyas? Do you have all of them? Which ones do you not have? Let me know in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Honkai Star content. Let me know how the mic is, of course, and I'll catch you on the next one.